Nathan Judo, I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Liam King. Liam, first home game of the season, Wolves 1, Brighton 4. Sum that up, please.
Woeful. Look, Wolves all over the shop, I'm afraid. I'll be honest with you, at half-time I was surprised by a lot of the social media activity, thinking the Wolves had a good first half. Yes, they had two very, very big chances. Fabio and Ait-Nouri should at least hit the target, but probably score both of them. Massive chances. But Wolves had no control over the game in that first half for me. I thought that they were, at every opportunity, losing the ball and being overrun on the transition. And Brighton were lucky not to score at least two in that first half, I felt. It was definitely tight in the second half, don't get me wrong, but at half-time, surprised at some of the reaction. They come out, takes them 45 seconds, concede another, and have an absolutely horrendous 10 minutes where they go 4-0 down. And yes, they recovered a little bit from that, got one goal, had a few more chances, but it meant nothing, and Wolves were just absolutely all over the place.
Yeah, like you say, the warning signs were there, and look, Mitoma's goal in the first half, absolutely individually brilliant. He's a fantastic player, but at the same time, missed tackle. It was so easy, and it was the ease of which he scored that kind of were the warning signs were there for the second half and the capitulation that we saw.
Yeah, the warning signs were there completely. Mitoma, amazing player, brilliant goal, but Semedo couldn't deal with him all afternoon. Dawson had a torrid time today, and obviously got taken off in the second half. Goes past him. Kilman comes across and tries to make a late recovery. The majority of the blame for that goal is not on him, but at the same time, he goes to try and drag Mitoma to the floor. If Mitoma goes down, that's a red card and a penalty. Yes, Wolves may not have been 1-0 down if they didn't score the penalty, but they're 10 men down within 15 minutes. So all three of them poor for that goal for me. And I could go through each goal and pick out all the individuals because it was the same culprits.
Well, let's finish off the half, and at the other end, like you say, two great chances. Rayan Ait-Nouri, who should have hit the target on the angle afterwards, but let's talk about the Fabio Silva's chance, which preceded it. And of course, one-on-one, we thought it was quite tight. When you look back at the replays, he was well onside. And I'm sorry, everybody wanted Fabio Silva to start today. I think a lot of us have been
included, to be fair.
Yeah, a lot of us have been pushing for it. Gary Neal went attacking. He went for two up front. He went for Cunha and Silva, and you've got to hit the target. Yeah, boy, hit the target. You've got to score there. I mean, he had all the goal to aim at, and that wasn't even close. And Wolves needed to score that point.
Yeah, I mean, he had 90% of the goal to aim at, and he hits it straight at Jason Steele. I'm a fan of Fabio. I think there's a player there. I think there's something Wolves can get out of there. I wanted him to start, and he didn't take his chance today for me. I think he's a much better player than what he showed, and he was not at the races at all. And with that chance, Wolves were 1-0 down, played through on goal. We thought it was offside originally, but as you say, we've seen a replay, and he was onside. Estupinan was keeping him onside. You've got to bare minimum hit the target, but in that chance, as a striker, you've got to score.
Second half comes, like you say, just an absolute, just dreadful. I mean, they're awful 10 minutes. I mean, they're so open, and they were cut open, and just two sides won today. I mean, I think the XG of half time was probably much in Wolves' favour, but the clinical finishing of look, Brighton are a lot better side than Wolves. They've got a better squad, they've got better players, but goodness me, that was so easy, and you could hear the boos around them, and I haven't seen Molineux that empty for a long time.
Yeah,
and that's first home game of the season.
Yeah, by 65.
Yeah.
Probably near enough 50% empty here, and you can't blame him because Wolves fans were watching a performance that was all at sea defensively, giving away chances left, right and centre, giving away goals left, right and centre, and even in that second half when Wolves had a bit of control and were 4-1 down and got forward and looked after the ball and had a few chances, they were so poor in that final third and that finishing. I mean, the amount of times Neto lost the ball, the amount of times Nunez lost the ball, to be honest, Hwang did well off the bench, obviously got his goal. If I can pluck some positives, he did well, and I thought Cunha was one of the few shining lights who, looked after the ball well, ran with it into space, took a few on, tried, worked hard. But other than that, I can't really pick anyone else out. It was just too poor.
Someone will be hanging their head in shame is Matheus Nunes. An absolutely needless second booking at the end. Will be suspended now for Everton. A game, you need your best 11 on the pitch, but he would be integral, I would have thought, to the way they're set up at Goodison Park, and have just no defence whatsoever.
No. I mean, I don't know what he's playing at. It's born from frustration because you could see it building in him, and he's got this in him. He's done this before where he builds a bit of frustration up, he lets his anger out. He had a scrap with Billy Gilmore in the first half, and then goes down, loses out to near the byline, loses out on the ball. I forget which defender it was, but someone went over, and he went over to complain at them. Estupinan came in to get in between them, and he just pushed him to the floor. It is so needless, it is so stupid, And to be honest, it's selfish.
Yeah.
And now Wolves are going to lose what would have been a key player to start at what is now going to be a very big game away at Everton next week. He's let himself down there. I think it's so poor. And look, he wasn't even having a particularly good game. And to go and do that in the 95th minute, whatever it was, unbelievable. You cannot excuse that, and it's very, very poor.
Look, we saw an excellent Wolves side on Monday night against Manchester United. We saw a brutally poor performance today against Brighton. Where are Wolves? I would say probably somewhere in the middle of those two performances, looking out to the season. But at the same time, you look at that tail, Wolves will be bottom of the Premier League tonight. They are going to have to get points quickly. And like you said, that Everton game, I know it's only third game of the season, but that looks like a very, very telling game at this stage. It'll be interesting what Gary Neal has to say. I'm sure he's not happy. I'm sure he trusted some players today and they've let him down. But at the same time, there needs to be a big reaction in the next Saturday.
No, absolutely. And for me, the biggest question mark, as it has been for 2 or 3 seasons running now, is where are the goals going to come from? Fabio Silva misses his chance. Ait-Nouri misses his chance. Ait-Nouri actually, in fact, had another massive chance in the second half here, where Hwang has put it on a plate for him. All he's got to do is shoot first time with his left foot, takes a touch, gets tackled, and Molineux is up in arms. What are you going to have a shot? So I can't see where the goal's going to come from, genuinely, at the moment. That's my worry, because you can get into all the good positions you want, you have to finish them. And Wolves were so passive in the final third today, and then when they did have the chances, they didn't take them. So that is the biggest question mark for Gary Neal to fix.
I mean, Wolves and Brighton have, the last 3 times in the Premier League, have lost all 3. They've lost 16-3 in the last 3 games. I mean, it was men against boys at times, wasn't it? And that's worrying.
Yeah, 6-0 away last season, at home here 3-2 last season. The season before that, when Graham Potter and Bruno Lage were in charge of the 2 clubs, 3-0 here towards the end of that season. Brighton
4-1 today.
And 4-1 today. Brighton have become a bit of a bogey side for Wolves. And obviously before those games, Wolves were tending to beat them 1-0, and it was tight games. This is a very, very good Brighton side. Every time they seem to make sales, they seem to recruit really well, and it's a kind of model that Wolves should be trying to follow. And that's the route they're trying to go down. But they are in the very early stages of that, and this Brighton team is head and shoulders above Wolves.
Very early on, looking into next week. But yeah, I mean, some of the substitutes or the new substitutes are training here. The likes of Hodge and Doc and Kalajic and Boubacar Traore and Bueno. These are the kind of guys that will probably have a shout going into next Saturday, wouldn't you say?
Particularly of those you've just mentioned, particularly Matt Doherty for me. I thought Nelson Semedo was awful today. And I need to watch the replays of the goals and see exactly how many he was at fault at and sort of go back and analyse it. But on first view in there, we're recording this straight after the final whistle, he was all over the place. And after such a good performance against United, where I thought he was easily an 8-9 out of 10, to have that today is so disappointing. And there'll be others there that I want to play. I didn't think Lamina and Gomez were particularly good today. Hodge and Boubacar Traore, we looked at that and saying, why can't we get an opportunity? So they now need to be knocking on the door and saying, well, I deserve to play.
Wolves 1, Brighton 4. For all the post-match reaction, make sure you log on to expressthestar.com.